We learn to live and live to learn in what has turned out to be an unprecedented situation, an unprecedented pandemic, with history being written across the geography of Mother Earth. And a minor virus has created a major catastrophe, making each and every one of us rewind, rethink, reformat, reboot before we rebuild a new future, a new normal. The class of 2020, and the output of which will be presented in a white paper to the Government of India as we at EduMate gather all kinds of information, views, news, as well as opinions to collate an insight and an advisory to the government as to what will be the future of the world of education in this country. This program is produced by edumate.tv. It's brought to you by Education, an organization that looks at education ahead. And I must say with great pride, it's powered by one of the better universities of India's north, that's IMS University in Ghaziabad. Well, as always, in our very special program, we have a list of very special guests. We've already got a 95% turn-in, 5% more to go. That's much higher than most of the cutoffs in the CBSE examination results that we've had so far. So it's quite encouraging. But as we go into it, we'll be turning into a full house in a few minutes from now. But first, our very special guests, who are they and what are they all about?
Well, every single crisis, whatever be its magnitude, is bound to throw open several opportunities. But the only way to address those opportunities is not by looking without, not by always looking at the external stimuli. One of the biggest lessons of COVID has been it's time to look within and look at your strengths. Focus within to be able to bring out the best in you. Over to you, Professor Alok Pandey, on the definition, the redefinition, and the recreation of Atmanirbhar Bharat.
This institute is IMS Ghaziabad. It's an Institute of Management Studies under Association of Indian Universities, and it's not a university-affiliated institution. We award a postgraduate diploma in management, which is under AIU and National Board of Accreditation accredited kind of an institution. We are NAC also accredited with National Assessment Accreditation Council. So we are actually under Association of Indian University and not, we are an independent, standalone PGDM institute, 30 years old. But my take on Atmanirbhar Bharat is goes through 1, 2, 3. 1, what is the state of entrepreneurship in India? You know, if you look at the growth of entrepreneurship in India, we can only calculate it through how many formal firms we created. Between 2004 and 2016, approximately the formal firms in India grew at a rate of 3.8%. Beyond that, this number between 2014 to 18 is around 12%. And this is a good number because in just 2018, we created 1,24,000 firms. The only problem for entrepreneurship in India is that majority of these firms, 85,000 of these firms are in services sector, barely 15,000 in manufacturing sector, 5,000 each in infrastructure and agriculture approximately. Now, this is a very, very difficult time for all of us when we are talking to compete with China, COVID times. This COVID crisis has again brought us to that direction. Dr. Ruchi Gupta in one of these seminars had talked about entrepreneurship being taught at the earlier levels in schools. But again, you can't really change this country unless you do a massive change at the curriculum from the beginning. We need to tell our students, no, you don't need to do a graduation. Teachers are supposed to have a service orientation, and so do our students if they have service orientation like Japan or China, where they teach a lot of humility in their schools, where they teach them that when you eat food, thank the person who has prepared it, you wash your own dishes, and ensure that you clean your own table. Food is provided in Japan and China often in schools. So we need to get into that service mindset right from the beginning. We need to create right engineering. In fact, a lot of work has been done by the present government in last 4-5 years. But for creating an Atmanirbhar Bharat, I will say, number one, we changed the entire curriculum of this country at the school level and also at the higher level. We segregate students who are interested into technical sides and those who are interested in humanities side or wish to become academics. The second part, we must look at the archaic laws which stops our entrepreneurs to venture into services sector where they find it easy money rather than moving into manufacturing sector. And last and foremost, we must allow ease of doing business where you can register a company as fast as you can do in US. Remember, on per capita basis, on per 1,000 people, India has just 0.1 entrepreneur or a firm.
India was self-reliant since ages. Swami Vivekananda once said that India needs to produce for themselves and find a market in other countries also to sew it up. In true sense, if you talk to me, let me tell you, Chetan, that India is self-reliant in sectors like edible oil productions, manufacturing, medical equipment manufacturing, defense manufacturing, all this. And I think this is the turning point. Let me tell you, Chetan, that our students, whom I call a new hope, new dreams for the country, they need to make this turning point into reality. That how this self-reliant concept, Atmanirbhar Bharat, is going to help us through their own mindset. Let me tell you one thing, Chetan. So far as the Atmanirbhar Bharat is concerned or self-reliance is concerned, it is altogether the mindset which we need to change. If you ask me, let me tell you that no parents in this country want their children to be an entrepreneur. This is all the mindset which we need to talk about. The student community, the youth, has to take care of the mindset to become the entrepreneurs, not to be the job seekers, but to be the job creators, right? To match the demand and supply gap, to make India, to take India into a real, in true sense, the Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India. In IMS, let me tell you what we do. That if I take the history of IMS Ghaziabad, let me tell you, not less than 5 to 10% of the students every year they go for entrepreneurship.
So in India, there are 4 varnas, right? We all know that: Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Now, if you look at Indian mythology, it says that Brahmins came up from the head of Brahma. Kshatriyas came up from the chest of Brahma. And Vaishyas and Shudras, they were below the bed people. Vaishyas came from thighs of Brahma and Shudras came from feet of Brahma. Unfortunately, the people who used to live a cerebral life and a life of warriorship, they rose from the portion above the waist, and others who were supposed to work, they came up from the portions below the waist. Unfortunately, this is the situation. Why can't you give as much respect, as much recognition to a person who creates jobs and a manufacturer? Why can't you do that? So unless this societal bias towards manual work changes, this will not change. The second issue that I think is what plagues Indian scenario is the entire ecosystem of entrepreneurship development that we have created. Now tell me, who is teaching entrepreneurship to kids? Who is teaching entrepreneurship to young managers? People who have never done a business in their entire lives. They have become professors of entrepreneurship. What's your take on that? How do you think it is going to work? Is there a moral authority? No. Why can't we employ the industrialists, local business people to teach entrepreneurship? Why can't we do away with the theoretical curriculum of entrepreneurship and make it entirely a project-based course?
Harshita wants to know how to keep yourself updated with the ongoing change in the working environment. And Priyashi Khanna wants to know that effect of Atmanirbhar vision on forex reserves. Won't Atmanirbhar have negative impact on India's global relationship?
Forex reserves have little to do with our international relations. Forex reserves are an indication of how capable are you in terms of managing your own resources and the value of your currency. But remember, Forex reserves are a function of 2-3 things. One of the bigger things, what has happened in the COVID times, imports have fallen. So have exports. Forex reserves rise when your exports rise, when your remittances rise. So what happens? The remittances into inward remittances have fallen. But what has happened, because all foreign workers have come back, India doesn't export much, but our import bill has fallen a lot, largely because of the crude oil prices. But let me tell you, the only way to keep yourself updated anytime, whether work from home or work from office, is number one, do not look at your mobile phone after 10 o'clock at night. Sleep by 11 o'clock, get up by 6 o'clock, do a lot of exercise, ensure you eat nutritious food, ensure your relationships don't suffer, ensure that you are reading at least 2 to 3 newspapers every day, ensure that you are in a position to put your views across on any possible views which go around. Work from home basically requires you to manage yourself. Whatever I've told you, the underlying thread out of that is, how do I manage myself and how do I keep myself under a discipline?
I would say that for students, my take would be, as per the query, that these things will keep on coming in your life. This is just a phase, as a few people have been quoting that they find students are finding their future in dark. And what about their masters? I've been listening to all the questions the students are posing. See, it's a very natural phenomenon. Because when something happens all of a sudden, it is unplanned, and it's like a situation, I would say, where resurgence is happening. We have to again make ourselves stand again, because these are the chances where you have opportunities, more opportunities to explore where your limits ends and how better can I contribute. We Professor Pandey already said that there's a lot of scope in manufacturing. So today only I was reading and in fact going through news in toy industry, especially if you see there's a remarkable change, and our Indian manufacturer, since these Chinese products are facing a lot of ban and everything, they are quite happy. They are again working with agility to cope up with the requirement, because this is such a big sector which contributes to, I think, approximately 3% of the entire GDP, because of the agile age group.
How is a fresh graduate supposed to cope up with the post-corona declining job market?
Rohan, whenever you look at India, please look at it from Mahatma Gandhi's perspective. Mahatma Gandhi said, when you take a decision by looking at the person standing, who is standing last in the queue. So what really happens, look at the state of employment in India, what has happened. Remember that when we talk about entrepreneurship, let me link it with it. I've got a list of entrepreneurs who've done well. Like, for example, this morning only, I was with Saurabh Jain. Talking to him, he was congratulating about daughter's performance and all. He's the vice president of Paytm Group. And, Mr. Sharma, who is the founder of this company, he is just an average graduate who basically, Vijay Shekhar Sharma, who really, has made a huge company out of an opportunity that you used to feel that, if you have some money to be paid to someone and he'll not return you the cash, and you'd rather say, you keep the change kind of an idea. So what Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma came up with was a mobile wallet concept in India. Today, the idea is not to look at the job market. Today, the idea is to whether we can contribute to the growth of the economy one way or the other. Remember, don't look at a job.
Well, I feel, that in this pandemic situation, that's a worry which most of the students have right now. But I would want to look at it a little differently. The job market exactly is not going to decline. Of course, we are seeing some, problems in the internships and in the new job openings right now. Yes. But we also need to realize that there is a growing job market for a lot of things. Digital transformation is going to happen in most sectors. This is one thing which is
Industry
surely going to
4.0,
happen.
yeah. Industry 4.0, yeah.
Yes. So when you talk about this digital transformation, a lot of challenging jobs exist, in today's date. So when I talk to people in my circle, there are companies, big established brands who are trying to talk to consultants to design the digital roadmaps for their companies now, because now they've realized that they need to reach out to people in the digital way. So we have seen the digital appetite going, up amongst the people during this pandemic situation, who are a little reluctant to try, certain digital things. For example, the mobile payment or the things like Paytm, or the grocery apps like Grofers or Big Basket or Milk Basket. So there was a certain age group which was reluctant before the pandemic time, but now, yes, they've started adopting it.
So why do you think stock markets are rising now when COVID cases are also rising? If you look at March or April numbers, you will see that every time COVID cases rose significantly, markets crashed. But markets are rising now. Why? Because markets are forward-looking mechanisms. Markets are a crystal ball where you can have a look, and most likely you can have a look at the future, how the future is going to take shape. Market is understood that post-pandemic recovery is going to be there, and nobody may be able to predict when, but it is going to be there. That is for sure. So that should give you a hope that now the recovery is being looked at. That is number one. So this phase is not going to last. So I would say, rather than preparing for the new normal that exists today, you should start preparing for the next normal when the recovery will start taking place. So rather than looking at new normal, start looking at next normal. As ma'am has just pointed out, Dr. Alok Pandey has pointed out, digital skills. So this is a phase. Sometimes people say that they are undergoing forced bachelorhoods, right? So this is a phase which people are undergoing forced studenthoods. Everybody has become a student during lockdown.
I think dynamic digital skills are definitely something that we look, in terms of the future. And as a young adult, I'm 26 and I'm young, and I'm also in the job market, going and looking for opportunities, or making sure that I succeed in my current opportunity. What I've realized is that digital skills are not static. They need to be dynamic. They need to continuously change to meet technological advances, right? So that is something that I feel when we are trying to become Atmanirbhar, even our curriculums or even job training should look at dynamic digital skills.
We need to make transformation right at the stage of learning. Now, whatever we are facing, we face it like after 18 years of a child's life. And the schools, the preschools, the schools, the colleges, these are the best platform to actually create a character, or probably create a candidate who will bring reforms, who will bring the change. For sure, our children are looking for jobs. Even right now in this webinar also, I heard students are more concerned about jobs rather than they should think about taking opportunity of this golden period. I call it as a golden period because this is a time when you can work from home, when you are doing so much of networking.
In 2017, I was made the convener of Enactors. Now, that's an organization which is working for the upliftment of, the underprivileged sections of the society around us. And I have seen students grow, with compassion, with passion, to do something better for the society. So I would absolutely agree with, what Dr. Pankaj and Dr. Tapan said, that, and Professor Alok Pandey has said, there has to be an instinct for the entrepreneurship. Okay, and I've seen this instinct amongst those young learners to do something good for the society, and I think that instinct needs to be taken care of, needs to be taken forward, because that is something which is going to make India an Atmanirbhar Bharat. So these are the students who have been doing all the preliminary researches, creating business plans, doing cost benefit analysis, floating the product, making sure that the product is manufactured, finding the appropriate market for that product. So doing those entire analysis right at this stage during the 3-year stay in the college, I've seen them grow as entrepreneurs, as highly confident personalities.
In fact, the early stages, are the best stages, where the entrepreneurial mindset, can be created. Now, since we do not have this thing in the curriculum already, we at Shahid Bhagat Singh College also are making efforts in some way. So in fact, the annual commerce festival of the college is called as Udyam, which means entrepreneurship. So from the past many years, we have been working closely with the students, giving them a free hand in organizing a lot of things. And I'll just want to share one very a really happy thing, as a teacher, which really makes me proud. One of our students who passed out some 3-4 years back, she worked very closely with us, and now she has set up a venture of her own called Khadiji. She's working in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, where she's manufacturing clothes using khadi, at the same time giving employment to the women of the people over there. And very proud and happy to share that she has been listed under the Forbes 30 under 30 Asia list.
If we compare our education system, especially in schools, with the Western education system, there lies the basic difference. There the students have an option, especially when it comes to after the primary wings. They are asked to explore what skills are they good at. I can formulate my career in music, so that creates an entrepreneurial mindset from the very basics. So the candidate himself knows what am I good at, and then you don't have to worry where will you get the job, because when you are good at something, future is all yours.
When Ruchi ma'am just spoke about the transformation and digitization, so this is the key. I was reading the UNESCO report 2 days back, which says that there are nearly 1.6 billion students who were actually affected by this pandemic, and over 200 billion students from the higher education being impacted with this. So this is actually the point of concern, because we are here to nurture the future generations, and India being the youngest population, and during this time, if you're not thinking about redefining the curriculum at the initial stages, this will be a cause of concern in future. I agree when we talk about Atmanirbhar project, we need to actually work towards it as when we are self-reliant, because the time has changed. When we talk about the digital transformation, the skill sets basically requires you to be the digitally friendly person, a person who knows how to do the coding and how to do, data transformations, because this is the future.
Making students more skillful and confident, it's not something to be taught. First thing, that the idea of being more self-reliant or self-sustainable should be there within themselves. And as academicians, I think our role also need to be changed in terms of everything teaching, because when we were kids, it was much more of spoon feeding and making us learn. The next generation is, as I agree with most of the eminent professors, that I think analytical skills. Professor Pandey rightly said that we teach how to analyze or evaluate, not simply remember.
Nitya wants to know, Indian society has an inbuilt perspective that jobs, especially government jobs, prove to be more stable and regular source of income, and thus discourages new ventures and entrepreneurship opportunities. How can we see that perspective to be changed? Nitya wanted to know, shouldn't entrepreneurship be included as a compulsory subject along with business studies at senior secondary level?
What has been happening over the years is, in fact, over the last few months, is all companies, their digital adoption curves, they all have to be, upped overnight. So because of these changes happening, what I would suggest to students is they should enhance their skills in terms of, getting digitalized, becoming more relevant. And in terms of employability, they should go ahead with a lot of courses, which I had also, noted down, such as Coursera is there, you've got Future Learn, Skillshare, and most of these courses are all available free of cost. So students should not wait for any opportunity to be coming from the side of their schools. They should put in the initiative on their own and go ahead and be curious and passionate and make sure that they are taking up these skills and learning a lot of things and help companies in their digitalization drive and make themselves a lot more employable.
you hear the music?
Yes, we can. Loud and clear.
I think the big learning from artists like Elvis Presley was the simplicity. Simplicity in the words, simplicity in the music, and simplicity in the message. I think that big learning of simplicity is also what COVID is teaching us. In a very complex, challenging, multifaceted environment, if you learn to keep life simple, you will find your direction. So the focus is very clear. And Justin, the amount of focus you brought out by your music is exceptional. And thank you for that. God bless you. Have a great life up ahead and keep pursuing your talent. As I always say that, this is the opportunity to use your talent. COVID is providing you this opportunity. Our education system, the new system, is providing this opportunity. You can follow your passion.
I have just written a few lines about the emotion behind this whole concept of Atmanirbharta. So, आप होली मनाते हैं तो गुलाल लगाते हैं. देश की मिट्टी की खुशबू होती है उसमें या फिर वो भी बाहर से आते हैं. आप दिवाली पर घर सजाते हैं तो चमकदार लाइट्स भी लगाते हैं. फिर जो सड़क पर मिट्टी के दिए लिए बैठा है उसे आप कैसे बहलाते हैं. अभी कुछ में आप जश्न आज़ादी मनाएंगे. अभी कुछ दिनों में आप जश्न आज़ादी मनाएंगे. एक नॉट मेड इन इंडिया फोन पर देशभक्ति का गाना चलाएंगे. फिर किसी और देश की सोशल मीडिया ऐप पर लोगों को दिखाएंगे. हो सकता है आप झंडा भी फहराएं. उसका हर हिस्सा भारत में बनना है, इस बात का प्रमाण कहां से लाएंगे. एक आजादी मिली थी हमें, एक आजादी ना भी बाकी है. चरखे अपने चलाने हैं ना फिर लानी फिर से खाकी है. स्थानीय व्यापारी ना भूखा नहीं सोएगा. ये देश उतना ही खाएगा जितना ये खुद ही बोएगा. और मौका आत्मनिर्भरता का फिर इससे बेहतर कब आएगा. मौका आत्मनिर्भरता का फिर इससे बेहतर कब आएगा. जब मुश्किल में देश है तो इसे देश ही बचाएगा. हाँ, माना मुश्किल है, नामुमकिन नहीं, शुरू में थोड़ा नुकसान हो. हाँ, माना मुश्किल है, नामुमकिन नहीं, शुरू में थोड़ा नुकसान हो. पर क्या ये सपना नहीं देखा है आपने कि हर चीज पर टैग मेड इन हिंदुस्तान हो, कि हर चीज पर टैग मेड इन हिंदुस्तान हो.
In my conversation with Professor Pandey and Nayak, I know for a fact that in IMS, talent honing is a very critical part of actual education, because that's what brings a 360 degree, and building of a character of a student is building the character of a nation. That tells you two things. A, that we're not particularly disciplined when it comes to time, but more importantly, it tells you that it's been a very intriguing webinar and everybody is wanting to say exactly what they feel and they've been given the opportunity to say so. So, when you have a sense of engagement, then you have a sense of purpose. When you have a sense of purpose, you have a sense of self-reliance. That's been our subject for today, Atmanirbhar. Okay, closing comments from each of our guests. We'll give 1 minute to each of you because we are really running out of time. Starting with you, Professor Alok Pandey, your closing comments on this webinar.
This obsession of government jobs in India, this obsession of doing a job, this obsession of placements and business schools being seen as placement shops, this needs to change, especially these times. And COVID times have given us this opportunity where we can start looking things a little differently. So, looking at Atmanirbhar Bharat, the first step, Bharat will become Atmanirbhar when individuals will become Atmanirbhar.
I think we should ask our children, ask our youth to change their mindset, the mindset to come out from the comfort zone, as Professor Pandey had said, that as a student, what is the most important thing is that the most important thing is to involve with struggle, involve with hard work and the perseverance. If you come out of the comfort zone, change your mindset, not to be a job seeker, but try to create the job. I think this is the whole mantra of to being the Atmanirbhar. And if you become Atmanirbhar, self-reliant, I'm sure the country will automatically be Atmanirbhar.
I would like to say in just two statements. One thing, don't learn to simply swim. In fact, learn diving. And once you learn diving, that means you'll try to find out the root cause of a problem. Today's youth has that inner ability to find out the reasons, find out those gaps and come out with a solution.
Okay, so I have one bad news and one good news for all the youth attending this event. Bad news. If you think that you are looking for a job and entrepreneurship is not for you, you are in for trouble. So all of us who are able to walk, we are all adults. Remember how we learned to walk? Because we wanted to become Atmanirbhar as a kid. Otherwise, we would never have learned to walk. But over time, we lost this ability and maybe became dependent on others. That is the good news.
The champions, you are the youth. Don't forget that for your life and for your career, you just need the mobile you are sitting in front of or the camera you are sitting in front of. Remember, this is a time when you need to create your profile. Go and make your YouTube channel. Share your thoughts with the world. Make your Facebook page. Share what you think. Share what you want to do in the world. Be the change what you want to be. And remember, you need to spend your income or your, the kind of money your parents are investing on you. 50% on your survival. 30% you have to invest on your learning.
Reverend Prime Minister in his speech talked about 5 I's of Atmanirbharta, starting from intent and ending on innovation. The middle 3, the government is taking care of. So I would, request, I would motivate, I would encourage these young minds to just take care of these 2 I's.
So I was just saying that India is full of young talent and knowledge. There's no dearth of knowledge in our country. The recent example I was reading in the newspaper is that why TikTok app is very famous in our country. So I was just reading that it allows the creative band of mind in the people. Like people can innovate, can make their own videos. So it's the proof that Indians are very creative.
I'll like to highlight, as I said earlier also, in the earlier session that we had, we talked about a lot of challenges that we need to take care of. Of course, the pandemic has, posed a lot of challenges in front of us. But I like to talk here about the opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities which are available to the students now. I've already talked about, the kind of initiatives that the government has taken for the MSME sector, and therefore, those students who have an entrepreneurial mindset, they can actually do a lot. Now, I've already talked about digital transformation, which is going to exist in various sectors. Let me point out that here I'm not just talking about, upgrading your digital skills so that you can go and work for somebody. There are a lot of entrepreneurial opportunities, especially in technical entrepreneurship field, where you can actually start a venture of your own.
That they should actually don't get scared during this moment, because this is a time for them to be reinventing themselves. Lots of opportunities are there on online platforms. Go for the Coursera course, go for the edX course. There are lots of internship which is being given to all of them online.
So I only say that be positive, don't lose hope, explore yourself, learn, relearn, make use of the opportunities available to you. World is so big that there's no dearth of opportunities. Come out of your comfort zone, do your SWOT analysis, what's your strength, weakness, and what's available opportunity and how you can encash it.
And to be relevant, you have to come to the second R, as being responsive. You have to be responsive to the environment around you to see how things are changing, because life is ever changing, and you've got to respond, be flexible and adaptable to be able to continue your service or your need offering. And the final R is be responsible. You've got to take responsibility for all your actions, the actions of yourself, of your team. And when you take that responsibility, you will be able to sustain not just your enterprise, you'll be able to sustain and make this an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you for joining us. As I always say, to end off this marathon session, to educate better, you'd better educate.